On this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the importance of keeping everything transparent when you're working with a team, how iteration and pivoting are a constant process, and the small number of people that understand that iteration and pivoting are a constant process. So, within keeping everything transparent, majority of people, when they quit a company, they quit because they are just the nuts and bolts within the vehicle, essentially. They are not incorporated within the cumulative or overall vision, and they're just doing one piece or one part of it, and it's being plugged into some equation that they're not going to be able to see the end result. When you treat employees like that, which is something actually I did when I first started Zooted, they lose interest because then they're just someone who is expendable. So it's essential that you keep them transparent in terms of what your end goal is, what the end vision is, how you're going to get there, and how they fit in within this overall picture, because that's going to give them more motivation when things get rough as to this is, you know what, the overall goal is worth going through all this bullshit. So once you get to the bullshit, rarely are you going to find individuals that'll stick through it unless you encompass them within the overall vision. For the second small business tip, we're going to be talking about iteration and pivoting are a constant process. What I mean by that is, look, when I started doing apps, we'll talk about Zooted Delivery and the software that I started doing with that a little bit later on. But what I mean by iteration and pivoting are a constant process is, for example, when I was about to do Word Up, initially I decided, you know what, I'm going to build the wireframes in iOS or Android because I'm going to release it for both of those initially. But then I started talking to venture capitalists, I started talking to people with money or angel investors, and the conclusion that I came to is obviously all they care about is how many people are using the product, how many different ways can you make money off of it. The situation is this: if I went with iOS or Android, I couldn't make this Word Up app kind of in custom individually for both. I had to pick one or the other, because if you make them for both, it's going to be a generic version, and that won't suit your needs as a prototype MVP, which will MVP, minimum viable product, small portion of your larger software basically. But the situation is this: once I started talking to the VCs, they're like, you know what, all we care about is numbers, how many people. I have this product that I've already designed for iOS and Android, which is shown above. And the situation is this: what decision did I decide to make is, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna do a Chrome extension, because a decent amount of people use Chrome. So because of that decision, it doesn't segment the people I'm marketing to in terms of iOS and Android, since a large number of people utilize Chrome, and it won't be an issue for me to accrue the numbers that I want on it. So the problem with this is, and this goes into the next small business topic, which is that small number of people understand the process of iteration and pivoting. When you are dealing with individuals that have very highly specialized skills, whether they're computer developers, whether they're video production guys, whether they're photographers, whoever the hell it might be, they do not know the end vision that's within your head. And when they don't know the end vision that's within your head, when there's a problem that comes up, a large problem that doesn't seem like it can be solved, most of them scare away because they doubt you in some sense, which is something I love and I kind of crave for that. But that is a situation that occurs, is not everyone is used to the concept of pivoting. Look, in my mind, I know what my end goal is, where I'm trying to get to. So articulating that to everyone that I'm working with is essential. And even once you articulate it, for them to believe that you have the skill to be able to pivot based off whatever situation comes up is based on the relationship, but not every individual can sustain that type of relationship. So some people will get scared. You want to find the individuals that will stick with you through the thick and thin, because they understand that your skill level and your desire to reach the end goal that you want to is strong enough that you'll figure out an audible to whatever pivot that's come up within your current situation. A great example of that is the head of creative for Limbic Digital, Mark Bricker. This is a guy that when I first started with him, when I first approached him, it was a kind of weird situation because he approached me about an internship credit he needed. I was like, yeah, it, write down my company name and you can do some work for me and we can figure it out. When I talked to him about it in the beginning, I literally, when I had the Limbic pricing, I designed it myself, and I'm pretty sure it was designed on Microsoft Word. And I went out and talked to a couple of clients and signed like 2 of them, not because of the aesthetic of the graphics and flyers that I had because I knew how to sell from zoo to delivery. Regardless, the point is this: when I initially came to him, I didn't have shit with Limbic Digital. And he stuck throughout this 8-month process where I built the whole infrastructure of the company. We're gonna have him on a later episode, and he will tell you the benefits of sticking through that 8-month process. But not every individual would have stuck through that 8-month process, because the number of pivots I made, I couldn't even count out to you within that 8-month process. Hundreds of pivots that I made within that 8-month process. But the point is this: find the people that will stick with you through the thick and thin, and the people that understand the concept of pivoting, and believe you will be the individual to enable the pivoting. That's that for Swami Says episode 15. On next week's episode, we'll be talking about keeping the fire lit, having plans to pivot always, and also lessons learned from geocache. Yes, geocache, not geocaching.